Straight ahead on News 12 at 6, a recent gender rule that costs many theater students their roles has been reversed, with some questions still unanswered. We look at the next step the district is making.
A man accused of stealing horses across this area is making his way back to Grayson County.
And reports show a rise in car break-ins across parts of southern Oklahoma. We spoke with a law enforcement officer on how you can protect your belongings. News 12 at 6 starts now.
Live from 12 Studios, this is News 12 at 6.
Well, welcome to News 12 at 6. I'm Brenda Teal.
I'm Jeff Eliasoff. Great to have you with us this evening. Last night, the Sherman School Board unanimously voted to reverse the district's recent decisions about the upcoming musical Oklahoma. The original cast will now perform the original version of the musical.
New tonight, a special school board meeting has been called Friday. And on the agenda, the superintendent's job and possible hiring of a special investigator into how that matter was handled. News 12's Aaron Pillay has more.
I do truly believe the superintendent is a risk to our children's mental health and education. I think he is a dangerous man.
Philip Hightower, the father at the center of this whole controversy, is pleased with the reversal, but questions remain.
The board needs to take steps to investigate his openly blatant transphobia, bigotry, and most of all, his lies.
And in Friday's Sherman ISD Board of Trustees meeting, this will be discussed. According to the meeting agenda, in a closed session, the trustees and attorneys will further discuss the theater program and the administrators involved in recent decisions, specifically mentioning the high school principal, administration office, and the district's superintendent, Dr. Tyson Bennett. When the board returns to the open meeting, action about the duties of the superintendent may be taken, including possible administrative leave, which would lead to the designation of an acting superintendent. The next and final item is possible action to hire a special investigator for the recent issues surrounding the theater program. Many parents, including Hightower, deeming the gender policy that has since been reversed a rogue superintendent decision.
This all stems from one person. It stems directly from Tyson Bennett, the superintendent.
We will be at Friday's meeting and let you know if any action is taken. In Sherman, Aaron Pillay, News 12.
Well, just 24 hours after announcing his campaign for Texas Senate, U.S. Representative Pat Fallon has dropped a bid and will run again for Congress. Yesterday, Fallon announced that he would retire from Congress and run for his old seat in the Texas Senate. It is unclear why Fallon changed his mind. His staff said he will provide more information later.
All right, it has certainly been, I think, by my standards, a magnificent November day.
No changing our mind about that. It's been beautiful out.
It's been nice, and it has been by the books. A very nice November temperatures, very average and slightly above average for the past few days. But taking a look outside, the sun is already heading down, and it is getting dark out there. This is on our TMC tower cam. Saw a decent sunset earlier, not one of the best, but still all right by some standards. But temperatures across Texoma already dropping down to the 50s in some spots, all the way up in Ada and over in Pushmataha County and Antlers, 63 down in Paris, 58 over in Bonham. Already seeing some 50s south of the Red River. Those dry conditions out there causing these temperatures to get up close to around 70 in some spots like we saw today, but in other spots definitely just topping out in the upper 60s. But the winds, they've been staying calm out of the east. I was looking out the window at the trees, just not even moving. They're just standing very still out there. And as we go into Wednesday, we're going to see another day with easterly winds, very calm, dropping down overnight into the 40s, mid to lower 40s, depending on where you live. And then, of course, warming right back up to the upper 60s and the 70s for Wednesday. So we're going to stay on this consistent forecast, but we do have some rain chances for next week. I'll go over those details coming up.
All right, thank you, Brady. Well, a man who has been wanted for almost a month now by the Grayson County Sheriff's Department for stealing money, horses, and other items has been caught.
Now, where authorities caught him may surprise you. News 12's Kayla Holt explains.
The man accused of stealing horses, money, and other items from about 30 people in North Texas has been arrested in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
I I think he's a very charming individual. If you met him, you would be charmed by him.
Joanna Brutzman says she's a victim of crimes committed by Landon James.
The Grayson County Sheriff's Office started receiving numerous complaints from several different victims regarding theft of mainly horses, money, and tack related to the horse industry.
James was apprehended in St. Thomas with the help of U.S. Marshals and Special Rangers with the Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association. Authorities say he was working at a restaurant in the Virgin Islands.
We received an anonymous tip from somebody there that told us where he was working, and then they responded there and arrested him.
Brutzman says she's relieved.
I think he just thought, if I keep scamming people, I'm going to have a little bit of extra money and, always just be a step ahead. Because a lot of these people that sent horses to
James will now be extradited back to Grayson County.
We're going to do an aggregate amount theft, which means it's going to be the total amount of theft. Right now we're over $300,000, so that's a first-degree felony in the state of Texas.
The Grayson County Sheriff's Office says the case is ongoing and more charges could arise.
He is going to be brought to justice, and we're just working at it day by day right now.
In Sherman, Kayla Holt, News 12.
A Duncan man has been charged with possession of child pornography. According to court documents, a phone belonging to 28-year-old Aaron Grigsby was discovered to contain child pornography along with multiple sexually explicit conversations with minors. Grigsby faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted. And the Marshall County Sheriff's Office wants to question a man about some recent thefts. Sheriff Donald Yao says that Franklin Condit may be in southern Marshall, Carter, or Johnston counties. If you have seen him or know where he is, please contact the Sheriff's Office.
Well, there has been an uptick in car burglaries in some parts of Carter County.
News 12's Caroline Clues-Fletcher spoke to police about a crime that they say is easy to prevent.
Almost always in the overnight hours in the residential neighborhoods, of course. If your car is unlocked, you're the one that's going to be victimized in this situation.
Ardmore Police Sergeant Jake Glazner says car break-ins have been a continuing problem in the area for a while now, but lately they've seen a few more.
Within the last few days, we've had several auto burglaries.
Earlier this month, Lone Grove Police told me they're also seeing an increase in car break-ins. Dixon Police say they're taking reports of car break-ins too, but haven't noticed an increase lately. Glazner says nearly all of the cars are unlocked.
People are going in and just pulling on door handles in the neighborhoods, and if a vehicle's unlocked, that's the one that they rummage through. If it's locked, then they move on to something else.
Glazner says they're not seeing thieves break the cars to get into them, so to make sure you're not a victim of the crime, just keep your doors locked, consider installing a security light, and take your valuables with you when you go inside.
There are people leaving guns inside their vehicles overnight, and the vehicles are being left unlocked.
Glazner says that's more than just an expensive loss for you. It can also lead to more crime.
Of course, when a gun is stolen, the potential for violent crime is there now with the stolen gun, so that's something we want people to keep an eye on.
In Ardmore, Caroline Clues-Fletcher, News 12.
U.S. Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma had a heated exchange, to say the least, with Teamsters President Sean O'Brien during a hearing today. It almost turned physical after Mullin challenged the union boss to a fight right there in the Senate committee room. Listen.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big
Oh,
guy.
oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every problem?
No, sit down. Sit down. Look at you. You know, you're a United States Senator.
Active. That's Senator Bernie Sanders intervening after Mullin stood up from his chair and started taking off his wedding ring. Mullin and O'Brien continued talking about fighting until another senator was recognized to take the floor. This comes after a previous argument and fight challenge between these two back in June.
Still ahead on News 12 at 6, a class that could save lives. A look at how Durant PD is helping citizens stay prepared.
All right, let's take a live look outside at clear skies across beautiful Texoma. Brady coming up with your full forecast. You're watching News 12 at 6 on this beautiful Tuesday night in mid-November. We're so glad you're with us this evening.
An active shooter attack is a nightmare that too often becomes reality across America. But Durant police want people to be prepared. News 12's Hannah Gonzalez spoke with the department today about their objectives.
Last year, the FBI reported that there were more than 300 casualties caused by active shooters.
We teach anything from schools to churches to local businesses.
For over a decade, Durant instructor Sergeant Brandon Mitchell puts on civilian response to active shooter events, or CRAZE.
The way the world's going on right now, CRAZE is something that gives citizens some education material on what to do if they're involved in that kind of situation.
Mitchell breaks down what would happen if they found themselves in an active shooter attack.
What to expect from law enforcement, what they can do, what kind of ways to prevent themselves from being a victim.
The biggest mistake people make.
A lot of people think is if you play dead that you're going to be safe, and that's not the case.
Instead, the class teaches the run, hide, and fight method.
First, if you can get out of the area, run away. Get somewhere safe. If you can't, then shelter in place. Barricade yourself in a room, push stuff in front of doors, lock yourself, shut the lights off. And the last resort is to fight. There might be a chance or a scenario where you have to fight for your life.
He says active shooters most commonly choose places like businesses, outdoor events, and schools. So it's important to stay vigilant.
We have a lot of positive feedback. The class itself shows some videos of some scenarios, some actual live events that have taken place. And everybody that comes out of this says it's great training and they've wished they had had it a long time ago.
Free life-saving training. In Durant, Hannah Gonzalez, News 12.
Coming up next, the high school football playoffs head into round 2. How the Bells Panthers are preparing for an undefeated opponent.
And the weather's looking nice for the rest of this week, but next week I'm looking at a possibility of some rain chances. I got the details coming up next.
This weather segment sponsored by Langford Roofing. Langford Roofing since 1937. From the Weather Authority, here's meteorologist Brady Blackstock.
Good evening, Texas. Welcome back to News 12 at 6. Well, temperatures dropping fairly rapidly now that the sun's gone down, already down to 63 here in Sherman. Calm winds and dew points starting to increase a little bit, but still for the most part pretty dry out there. And take a look at the temperatures all across Texoma. Starting to see more 50s as these temperatures are just going down all the way into the 40s as we're heading into the overnight. But even Bonham already down at 58, 63. Out in Paris, 24-hour temperature change, well, a little warmer than where we were yesterday because we did have some more bluer skies today. But look at that, a few degrees cooler up in Ada. So a little uneven, but the winds still out of the east and very calm, just hardly noticeable at all. I mean, we've had some really rough winds earlier this month, and they're going to be returning, just not anytime soon. Humidity still plenty dry out there, so those temperatures will drop fairly rapidly. But today's high, upper 60s, so normal high. Now, the normal high continues to drop as we go throughout this week. That normal high will be at 61 by the end of the week. So this is the time when the temperatures start going down, but we keep going a little bit higher. So that's just kind of the week we're having. But look at today's low, 41 here in Sherman, a little bit below the normal low. So tonight's forecast, we are looking at mid 40s yet again, chilly and calm. Might see a few light clouds popping up in the sky, but Tanglewood Tower Cam, well, it's just about dark right there. It looks like the locust calmed down from 5 o'clock. But water vapor radar showing all the clouds that we saw yesterday. That's already moved on to the east over in the deep south over there. Now we have this dry air replaced, so that's why we're seeing those clear skies today. So forecast temperatures for Wednesday, once again, starting out in the mid 40s and then warming up to the upper 60s, top and starting to tip on over into the lower 70s. We're going to see some more 70s tomorrow, and the same will hold true on Thursday as, again, chilly overnights, but then going up into the low 70s for Thursdays. But with Thursday, we're finally going to see a change in the winds. Wednesday, it's going to stay out of the east, and then Thursday, finally going to start rotating out of the south and start speeding up, start seeing some double-digit wind speeds, more noticeable winds, and that will help bring those temperatures to those low 70s. But we got to talk about those rain chances. One of our long-range futurecast models, we are seeing some rain chances by the beginning of next week, some as early as Sunday evening, and then carrying on into Monday. And another one of our long-range models is really showing the rain focused on Monday. And then behind that front, we are going to get some northerly winds, a much stronger cold front that might see some near freezing overnights as we approach the Thanksgiving holiday. And Climate Prediction Center seems to agree with below average temperatures predicted for the week of Thanksgiving. And as far as rain chances, well, 6 to 10 days out, that does include the rain chances I just showed you. So rain is expected as we're going into next week. So fish and game forecast for Wednesday, November 15th. Tomorrow will be the halfway mark of November, but here is your 7-day forecast. You can see those stable conditions are sticking around, slightly warming up in the next couple of days, but then a weak cold front is going to move through on Friday. So Friday night football and the playoffs footballs for Thursday night and Friday looking good, but then right to kick off the week of the holidays. Hopefully we can get those rain chances in before we put the turkey in the oven, but it might be a chilly one heading into the holidays.
Oh yeah, I remember when my boys played high school football, we were never sure if we would be able to have Thanksgiving at home because they were hoping to get all the way deep into the playoffs.
Oh, wow. They're playing on the holidays?
I think so. I'm going to ask the expert over
Okay,
here.
good idea.
Do they play on the holidays?
It's every coach's dream to ruin Grandma's Thanksgiving. Football practice on Thanksgiving morning. That's the goal, right? All right, coming up, the high school football playoffs roll into round 2 with the Bells Panthers about to take on an undefeated opponent, and it's state tournament week in high school volleyball. 2 Texoma teams making the trip. We'll talk about it next in sports.
Now, your award-winning local sports coverage. Here's David Reed.
Well, there's no doubt that some of the very best high school volleyball is played here in Texoma, and we have 2 area teams that will be looking to bring home a state title later in the week, Gunner and Salina. The Gunner Tigers volleyball team is looking for a repeat. The defending champs will play in the semifinals on Thursday morning against Columbus. Now, while Gunner is defending, they are a whole different team. Lost a huge senior class and their head coach, but Tori Winchell has helped these younger players take the next step, and they are now 2 wins away from repeating.
I think a lot of people this season really underestimated us with losing so many seniors last year, but we had a really good upcoming group, and I'm really excited for what we're going to do.
All of the girls who are now playing have had a big gap to fill, and I think everyone's just transitioned really well, and I'm just extra proud of this group of girls this year. We've really all stepped up a lot, and I just really admire that from all of them.
With Gunner being the defending state champions, there's lots of comparisons, and that's the nature of any kind of situation like this, but it was fun to just tackle this is a new team, new coach, new leadership, and figure out what we needed to do for us.
Salina is headed to the state volleyball tournament as well. The Bobcats have played a rugged schedule to prepare themselves for this. Salina made it to state 2 years ago, missed out last year, but they returned this year with a strong senior class, needing 2 more wins to bring a championship back to Salina.
Since literally our first practice in June, we were like, we are going to state, we're making it to state. So it's kind of surreal that we're finally here. It's been our dream all season. We went to state sophomore year, so 2 years ago. And our goal all season has just been to get back.
But we for sure have confidence, but we will be able to help the younger girls, and we've been there before, been there, done that. We can help them get through this, but I think we can do it all.
Their desire and their heart, I speak about that a lot, I feel like, but it's just something that's just gigantic, and the closeness that they have, and they play, not only for love of the game, but they play for each other.
Some big high school football playoff games on the docket this week as well, including the Bells Panthers taking on Jacksboro down in Denton. The Panthers coming off a strong defensive performance in their win against Mildred in the opening round, but really started slow on offense. Now they will go up against an undefeated Tigers team fresh off a win against Callisburg. Del West says his team has to play better from the start.
We've got to figure it out over this week and make sure we don't come out flat again. You come out flat against anybody else in the playoffs, you're gonna lose. So we got to make sure our kids understand that and do whatever we got to do to get ourselves ready to go from the opening kickoff.
Well, the new Mid-American League Sherman baseball team unveiling the plans for the renovations for Veterans Field over at Fairview Park in Sherman. Big changes on the way to improve the fan experience for games starting next May. They announced the finalists for the team name. The choices: the Generals, Squatches, Outlaws, Tanks, Shadow Cats, and Shell Crushers. Garrett Stringfellow will have much more on the team coming up tonight at 10. And we'll be right back.
Welcome back to News 12 at 6. Another look at your 7-day forecast. The next few days, you already know the routine. It's going to be very similar to today in the past few days. And then a weak cold front on Friday will knock temperatures down slightly, but keep an eye on those rain chances. And then, of course, some potentially low freezing temperatures next week.
All right. Thank you, Brady. We will see you back here for News 12 at 10.
Until then, please be safe and be well. Good night.